Hi, my name is Tony Tadero, and I'm going to explain a little bit about my training called Google Suite Training Part 1. How would this training appeal to the staff that I'm giving it to, which would be elementary 3 through 5 building? I think that it will appeal to them because we all have the Google Suite, but we really haven't had good hands-on training, and there's varying degrees of skill level in our building. And I think that my training will explore elements of the Google Suite that our staff hasn't used yet. Like we haven't fully figured out how to integrate, you know, Screencastify, Google Slides. A lot of the folks don't know how to use YouTube effectively. They don't have a YouTube channel set up. So this training is going to help them be able to implement really good lessons. And so what's appealing to them is it states that it's ready to implement strategies. It's a hands-on training that will allow them to use tools that are already at their disposal more efficiently. So I think that's what will appeal to the folks that are about to receive the training. So we need this training within our organization because, again, one of the problems in our district is that we have all these apps that we're paying for, and only pockets of people are using it, and specific apps, like for example, Padlet would be one. Right now, the Google Suite with Screencastify is, kind of condensing Edpuzzle, Padlet, Flipgrid, which is no longer available, but all those different elements you can get in one app that we already have as a district. So there's a need for us to get some training implemented and put in place that I think the teachers really will appreciate and want, because again, everyone is using elements of the Google Suite, but not really in an efficient way, and they're only touching or scratching the surface. So there's a need in our organization to deliver this training and eliminate some of the apps that we're paying for that the Google Suite already does. So I think that's going to be fill that need. And I know my thing when I go and present things to, say, our CFO and our superintendent would be, we're spending money on hardware and software apps, but we're not really wringing the cash out of it. We're returning on that investment by effectively using it. So I think that the once they see what they can do with the Google Suite, people will flock to those apps and use them more efficiently. And again, I think that aligns right now with our district. Our goal is to streamline some and remove some of the redundancy in the apps. So I think it aligns with our district goals that way. So it says, how are the objectives in alignment with the audience? So yeah, there are varying degrees of ability when it comes to our staff using the Google Suite. Most of the people in the building are using elements of Google, like Google Classroom or Google Slides, but a lot of folks are not using Screencastify to model lessons or to flip their room or allow their students to demonstrate their knowledge by sharing a video of their work and things like. I think that, and then also a lot of folks are not tying YouTube into the equation and effectively using YouTube to integrate all four pieces into one central place, which would be Google Classroom. So it aligns with the audience because I'm going to be able to show folks that are already using elements of the Google Suite better ways to do what they're already doing, and then it's going to appeal to folks that are at a more advanced level are going to, I think, appreciate what Screencastify and effectively using Google Slides and then creating a YouTube channel that's going to appeal to their what they need to make their classroom more efficient and effective through the use of technology. So I do think it captures all the skill levels and their needs. So why did I decide to do 4 learning objectives. There are 4 elements to my training. So the first one is Google Classroom, second being Google Slides, third Screencastify, and the fourth one being YouTube. And I decided to do one clear objective for each of those, so that I didn't overcomplicate the instruction. So I didn't want it to be overwhelming for the staff members. So for each learning objective, for each thing that I'm going to show them, I have one very clear learning objective. So I chose 4. Simple things like for Google Classroom, making a copy for each student when you add a Google Doc or a Google Slide leads to a lot of other efficient ways to assign work, and then even being able to call an audible in the middle of a lesson with the way they assign. So there's one direct goal for that one. Google Slides, one clear directive, being able to import PDFs into the slide, and then creating transparent buttons and text boxes is another clear objective for that. Simple and clear. Screencastify, a lot of our folks don't understand it at all. So just being able to record their full screen like I'm doing right now would be a huge step forward. So that's something very basic and simple. And then also YouTube, simply being able to create your channel is a huge step forward for our staff. And so once all these, that's why I call it part 1. Once all these building blocks are in place, we would be able to get into part 2 and start to drill deeper on each of these different things. But when we can combine all 4 of these things, you can really come up with some powerful lessons for kids, and for those kids to then be able to use those tools to demonstrate knowledge through the use of technology in ways that teachers in our building aren't doing. So that's why I chose 4. So my assessment for this group is to have them develop a lesson using all 4 of these elements: Google Classroom, Google Slides, Screencastify, and YouTube. And they would post that up in Google Classroom. They would create a Google Slide with an embedded video. They would have maybe and within that Google assignment, they would have an embedded YouTube video, maybe of them modeling a lesson, screencasting themselves, demonstrating a lesson. So it's going to be a project-based assessment to demonstrate their knowledge from this class. So that's what I have planned for that. And then threw together a simple little rubric for them to guide their project-based learning. So that's a little rundown of my idea to teach staff, and it really stems from my own experiences and how I teach. So if I were to show them my own Google Classroom, for example, I would show them something like this. It would be my own lesson. So here's an example of using Google Slides. Here is a interactive Google Slide with a PDF embedded in and buttons for students to show work, blank slide for them to import their finished work in there. And then here would be an effective way to use their screencasting in YouTube to model a lesson. So this right here is me modeling how to do different math problems for my kids after I'd already taught them. So what an incredible way to basically, as a teacher, clone yourself 22 times, and for different learners to kind of learn at their own pace. This is happening right in the classroom. So I'm still in the room, and they have the ability to pull up a recorded video of me demonstrating math and then using interactive slides to demonstrate their work. And then I would like also for teachers to be able to use Screencastify. So a way for that would be that here's a couple of examples down here of kids being able to watch me read the anchor text, and this would be an example of an interactive slide right here. Here's embedded stories. I can screencast myself reading this, and then embed questions into that, and have the kids go back through, follow along with me reading, and then answer questions about the text. So that's the end game. So if I were showing my class, the staff, what this course is going to entail, I would show some examples of how I use technology in my own classroom, and how I draw from each of these elements, Google Classroom, Google Slides, Screencastify, and YouTube, to put together some pretty powerful lessons for students. That would be how I would try to draw them into wanting to take this class. And again, I would do a much better job than what I just showed you, but that's just an example. All right, I don't want to be too long-winded, but this is Google Suite Training Part 1.